Although the ITV is itself a new system, it is not hampered by the bugs usually found in unproven designs.
Ooh. All right, next step in the chain, I'm going to use one of our emitters, and I'm going to borrow from the 2-channel setup or the machine gun LED from a Sherman, and I'm going to make a emitter coming out through the optics. So I'm going to use a drill to make my pilot hole. Seems to be relatively hollow. That's good. I do have a step drill right here somewhere, but that means I have to get up. I'm probably gonna have to cut all that out anyway to put a sleeve in there. The proverbial parts box is always the key in strange situations. So for instance, I'm trying to make an emitter tube. Because remember, the emitter needs to be recessed about 9 millimeters to be totally fair and effective. So this is one of the things that I recommend having. This is a box of metal that I also got from one of the hobby stores. This is the K&S brass, I believe. Little parts and pieces. You never know what you're gonna get. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty convenient. So, I think I've used this before. Oh look, that fits perfect. So the key is to make one that's roughly that long and allows me to either fit it in and then do this. About 9 millimeters, so it's about that much. Put it there. K&S has a little tube cutter. Never seen one of these in action. Put it in and you tighten it, turn it. There you go. Cut it off. Nice little smoothness. Deburr it a little bit. Voila. True mixed media kit. Got brass, I got LEDs, I got resin. Looks good to me. When I get the emitter plumbed, I'll work about a flash. I might have one lying around. So I'm going to show you a trick to make emitter from spare parts. So if I'm going to use this bulb, simulating this style of, this is an example of the cable that they use for the emitter. I'm going to not chop this one because I want to use the machine gun somewhere. The point is that these are the connectors. 2 millimeter little Molex connector, and then the LED. This is going to be the LED attached to the flash tube that we just made for it. Now I'm going to do it in the style of another attachment. I like to make my emitters separable, kind of like the elevation and the traverse. So we're going to take, this is the 2-channel mixer from a Sherman. We don't need the 2-channel mixer because we're grown up. So I'm going to cut the bottom. I'm going to cut this part. This part is going to come from the base, and I'm going to connect it to this. Okay, and then this part is going to eventually have wires connecting to that. A little cutting, a little soldering. Alright, from the parts box I found this wire. I believe this came from an old radio, probably an old DX5 or a Futaba. I'm going to use this to come out through the back end of the emitter and be my cable that goes through this guy. Because, you know, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do exactly with this. I probably have to drill a hole out here and fish it through. Yeah, see, that comes out. They're meant for a flash. Intriguing. I'll have to work on that idea. This guy is probably going to need to have a separate hole drilled right down the middle there. Alright, back here with our helping hands out. I'm going to start assembling this LED bulb. And for the record, you know, when you get them out of the bag, there's a long pin and a short pin. The long pin is the positive, also known as the anode. The short pin is the negative, also known as the cathode. So when you're doing this, you got to make sure you keep the polarity intact through your cable, because if you have it backwards, it won't work, and there's the possibility of shorting it out. I trimmed the pins from the original bulb to keep their length correct, and now I'll use the darker color on the positive side and the lighter color on the negative side. I'm doing one little cheating thing. This wire obviously came out of some other pin or some other fastener or some other connector, and it still has the cramped on pin holder there. So I'm going to use it to hold on to the end of the LED. Put some insulation on. I had to get it over the end connector there, so it's a little bigger piece than I normally would use. I'm gonna twist that back up a little bit. All right, now that is the business end. And when we do most of our business, it will be like that. Another amazing purchase was this heat sink set. Gardner Bender, but I don't remember where I got that. So now in this case, I usually try to find one. We'll go up over. In this case, I'm just going to make myself a nice little long piece. Put you back. Yeah, this is my very old Weller soldering iron. I'm looking for a little soldering station. Who knows? Santa. More about these bulbs. They are what the SoCal crowd refers to as heat rounds. It's the same spec as the Tamiya LED emitter, just a little better and a little cleaner, and it can hit in the broad daylight in the western desert. So try that. Plan still is to connect it as such. Sometimes I use rubber cement. Right now it's still a prototype, so I'm not going to go too crazy. That should give me plenty of length for the back end of this thing. You can always use the case for the antenna will help. No fuss, no muss. Or at least we're on the road to success. Thinking. Well, one of the clips I taped had no audio, so let me explain. Rich Johnson's launcher model actually comes with 1mm holes in the struts and in the upper launcher to put pins in to allow it to stay upright, or to be removed for it to fold up. And if this parakeet won't stop talking, that's all you're gonna hear. So I'm going to show you some of the effort to put the pins in. Meet Jade, the photo intern. If you try to tape inside, this is what you get. Oh, now you're quiet. I can't explain what just happened. The bird is now on the phone. The bird is right there. If you don't believe me, look at this. That's the bird on the camera as I try to film. You help these days. unless we drill it out. So I'll try the antenna. Oh look, comes right through. In this case, I'll try to use the wire. Make sure that this part is open. There's a resin pour, obviously. So that works. Believe it or not, if I do it just right, there you go. Hardly noticeable. Same operation for up top. Now with a little some more fine work, the launcher is now in the upright position. In a complementary style, the commander's hatch has the same facility. Pins and pinholes all the way through. Let's see if I can make it work. Hatches. Now, seems to be a little warped, but I'll work on it. More on the emitter, just spacing it out. I'm making it extra long, just because I can. But yeah, I just did a inline solder, little quick job there, and it's got some insulation on it. Still maintaining the light color is the negative, and the dark color is the positive. This is the end that goes into the emitter port of the MFU DMD. This is the SD plug to be the extender. That's where it connects. Something I do with DMDs and MFUs. Some people might be horrified, but I actually take the plugs, cut the wires, and put a single Dean's male on them. This allows it to connect to one battery. I also do it with the motor ports. It takes out a lot of spaghetti, makes the tank easier to button up. Things that I can't obviously remove. A lot of extra wires for those. I've heard that they do sell shorter leads. I haven't seen them, but remember, when you cut wires on a Tamiya brain, you start to get a little sensitive because they don't grow back. And that was the advice I always took from those who know. I'm gonna pre-wire this. It's easier to do than when it's in the tank. This is the port next to the Apple receiver. The 5-pin is for the receiver. That's for the emitter. All right, this is a quick test. All right, so you got your emitter, got your Apple. The systems are plugged in as if they would be when I finally have the tank wired. I have a new-ish battery. I'm gonna turn it on. All right, it's seeing some connectivity. Green means it has enough power and it sees the receiver. All right, I have my DX6i here, and I have the bait over here. So, huzzah! Works. 3-second reload. It's a light tank. Looking good. Got the top off again. Getting closer to removing said electronics package. Just eyeballing it. The MFU DMD will fit in here. Might have to probably have to move the speaker. Probably move it up to here so it's under the engine so that sounds more realistic. Alright, so I'm trying to just do a little bit of loosey-goosey reorganization. That could probably go there. Alright, C9 is the speaker. Taking out the smoke unit because I don't really use it that much. No smoking. Even though this particular tank with the exhaust being where it is, it would be perfect, but we'll revisit that later. Adios. Pas de fumer. Here's an interesting little sidebar. These use bullet plugs like Tamiya. Ironically, I've already done my Dean's mod, so not too difficult, but curious. What comes out, what stays? I mean, I could just put this over here to the side and it won't hurt anything. Got my bullet connectors. Those will get switched to Dean's. And we're off to the races. Usually I have the side with the motor plugs forward. So this usually hugs this side of the tank. I'll have to remove the post and the post. And then, let's see, here's a normal 7TUV. Oh, look at that. That fits just glorious. Now the question is, do I put magnets here? Just magnetize this whole thing. All good questions. Zap and zap. So far, every change that I've made has been reversible. You could put it back and make it run as stock. Right now, I'm about to get to the stuff that I have to make permanent changes. I'm going to use this cutting disc to cut off the mounts for the upper hull and other components. I'm basically going to do this guy and this guy. Now, we'll also explore possibly putting a floor in to put my electronics on. We're also going to get to the process of taking all this off so I can paint it. Notice they use hex head bolts for most of the, and a Phillips head for the drive sprocket. That's interesting. I'm going to try to do this as stages and put it all back so it works. Dremel. This one's an old 8100. I got two of them. They charge, they cut. All right, here we go. Sometimes it's good to get a chance to go over the suspension and see what came out of the factory. This is an observation. I may have to see if I can source some spare sprockets for these guys. Look at this. The teeth in this are very worn down on this one side, and they're relatively new. The other version, yeah, this is another one. Seems to be intact. Just an observation. I'm probably going to throw a track on that side. So, spare track, spare sprocket. Now test it once again. The electronics sit right in there, right against the other post. that will work. Now, if I had to put in a full-length battery, that works. In place, still got room for other parts. Back inside here, we're gonna take out the power and the machine gun apple. Traverse is gonna stay, but I'm probably gonna unsolder the wires. All right, in this case, it's gonna be a simple surgery. I'm actually gonna unsolder those and replace them with some JST plugs ready to connect to the Tamiya. All right, back together. All right, quick test. Here's another little thing I do sometimes. That plug is not meant for the Tamiya Electronics, but it is very similar in construction. So, those of you who know, that is the speaker port for Tamiya. This plug will mechanically fit and hold. So if you turn the tank back on, you will get sound. That is what I call a hack. Do it at your own peril, but mine work. So as I said, my plan is this speaker, which means I probably need to find a longer wire. In the spirit of scavenging, here's an old Taigen smoker unit. Notice it has a long plug that would also work, so I think I'm gonna scavenge that, and this is gonna become my speaker line. That gives me plenty of room to work with for my speaker setup. Figure out how to take it apart without breaking it and get them out. That's sonic welded? Oh my goodness. Is that glued? Here's the speaker unit is glued, so. Now I know what I'm working with. I'm gonna take those off. The old helping hands back in action. This case, all right, here we are, back where we started. And I'll just figure out how to glue it together. think I came up with a little half measure. I'm going to put this, that's the bottom of the speaker that I just had. Alright, a lot of times when I'm doing custom work, I don't even know what I'm doing until it's kind of done. But in this case, I got the bottom part to fit. I'm going to get a little spacer. I need a spacer to keep it off of the torsion bar. But I also made it so that theoretically I could service it. This goes on top. I cut up the top. And I made it so it fits. Fits over top. And now it stays in place. Just an improvisation. Use my cutting tool, use my Dremel, and I made a mess. But it'll work, and it doesn't interfere with a lot of the function of the vehicle. So as a temporary measure in the top, I unplugged the Tongde Electronics and I hot glued it up on the top because I may try to see if I can get it to work with the Tamiya. Probably not, but it's easier than tearing the whole thing out. We have our DMD and our MFU. Alright, so that would be a typical fit. Question is, do I do the battery in and out every time? To be determined. So the receiver I could tape down over there somewhere. I was trying to do something that would work by the troop door, but so there you go, there's your basic layout. And everything fits. Next step is the motor leads. I'm probably going to add Deans like I typically do. Here's our speaker that we made. That will work. Trick is tangling and untangling this all the time. So there's your speaker set up, and then the power will go up to the top, to the old driver's hatch like it was before. Another use of recycled parts. This is a antenna holder from a Panzer III model. Many of you have seen the part. I drilled 3 holes in the floor and put it over the torsion bars. And now my electronics have a nice little sill. And they work pretty good. I prefer Dean's plugs for my power connections. They are more tightly connected than the Tamiya plugs typically are. There's less slop and they're fairly easy to install. This is a normal pack of 2 male plugs. I'm going to make 2 motor connections by taking the red and the black from the Tongde motors. I'm going to cut them off, and I'm going to make them into Deans to fit into my electronics for the Tamiya. The flatter part is the negative, and the upright part is the positive. Back on the bench, we're about to do some soldering. The plan is to take these Dean's plugs and make them the power leads for the motors. There's the right and the left. They're marked in black and red, usually positive and negative. So I'm gonna, it's too bad these come with bullet connectors, which means you could swap them with Tamiya right out of the box if you wanted to. My DMD is an older one, so it's gonna have my mods already on it. I am gonna cut these and put these on here. Now, some people were commenting that my soldering iron looks a little old. It is, as a matter of fact. This is probably gonna be the welder's last run. This guy, I've changed tips a couple times. I've worked on it. It's seen better days. Santa Claus has answered. We will switch to this going forward. Just trying to up my game a little bit. My engineer at work is telling me the one I'm supposed to get, but the price was more like a zip code. Anyway, I'm gonna start with this guy and see how far I can get. I like Wellers, I've been using them for a while. This one's got the light on it. This is always a tough thing, cutting perfectly good wires. These leads are for the motors. It reduces the amount of spaghetti. Well, the holidays are wrapping up around DAK land. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and their stockings were filled with tank parts. I got a battery and some other paints, and I even got a soldering iron. So, hopefully we'll continue our streak of new videos. Next week you will probably see one very unusual and very exciting, a major development for our tank battlefield. So, as I said before, and I'll say again, our motto is, victory is fun.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. For more DAK Labs content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel tremendously. Merry Christmas.